What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be checking out the Transformers movie masterpiece MPM-10 Revenge of the Fallen Starscream. Now, for some strange reason, it took Takara Tomy 3 years to give us this preferred Cybertronian redeco, and quite honestly, I have no idea what took them so long. We saw the original 2007 version released in summer of 2020, so you'd think maybe towards the end of 2020, early 2021, we'd get this redeco, but no, it's not until the beginning of 2023 that we finally have an official version of Revenge of the Fallen masterpiece Starscream, and I think it's too little too late. I mean, we've seen countless repaints, upscales, all done by third-party companies, and in some ways a little better. But we're going to take a look here at Starscream as he comes packaged in that sick-looking F-22 Raptor. I think he's an officially licensed Lockheed Martin, and it pays off because, I mean, jet mode-wise, this thing looks nuts. And I'll give Takara some credit. The redeco does look pretty sick. You can see here, for the main body of the jet, we get all of those wicked-looking tattoo details, even some massive kind of Cybertronian glyphs here on the sides of the wings. That detail does continue to the undersides of these pieces and even some of these sections, which I thought was pretty sweet. But if you own the original MPM-10, you'll know exactly what to expect mold-wise. I mean, he has the same landing gear, the same kind of undercarriage kibble, which, to be honest, I don't think looks too bad considering the nature of his rather strange Dorito robot mode design. But even the nose cone looks really cool. You can see how we've got some internal cockpit details, so they definitely didn't skimp out detail-wise, and I love the paintwork that we have here for the wings. So definitely pretty impressive looking. Now, as we take a look at a few comparisons, here on the left we have the official MPM-10, and on the right we have the Revenge of the Fallen version. So it's going to be a little tricky to compare them because they are so massive, but mold-wise they are identical. It merely is just the colours which differ, but what a difference it makes. I mean, come on, this guy looks so much better, and I would bet, had they put this one out over this one back in 2020, this mold just in general probably would have sold a lot better because Starscream just looked a lot more interesting with these details. But you guys let me know down in the comment section below, out of the two, which is the one you prefer. And here's quite an interesting one. So this is the Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen version that was released, I want to say, in 2018, so a much faster turnaround when we got this repaint. But I was intrigued to see if Takara would use the same base beige plastic like we saw in this one, and thankfully no, they did decide to go with a much darker gunmetal grey, which I think looks better and is of course much more movie accurate. The only thing which I'm not the biggest fan of is that this one was able to pull off the afterburners, whereas unfortunately on this one there is no afterburner detail, so that's a little lazy for an MPM. And as we come here to the underside, for a Voyager, I think this one was actually pretty well done. Of course, this one's leaps and bounds more accurate in the robot mode, but I just thought I'd give you guys the comparison. So, for the price point, let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think. Now, very quickly going over the transformation just for you guys who maybe do have the patience of a saint and have held out all those years for this redeco. We're first of all going to come here to the underside and just take the landing gear, collapse this all here down. This one can stay out because we'll need to use it for transformation later on. You're then going to want to take these legs, and they do actually peg into some tiny tabs, so just unpeg those like that, bring this down. Once you do this, it will begin kind of unlocking everything. So next up, you're going to want to take these pieces and just attach those. Come around here to this side and do the exact same. We can now flip here to the top, take these sections, and they're just going to hinge backwards just like that, which will loosen up all of these panels. What we can then do is take the wings, extend these sections here outwards just to get them out of the way, and then we're going to take these little sections, they will split just like that, and then take this panel and snap it into place. So do the exact same here for this side. A very intricate design. The transformation for this figure is certainly nuts, but we're then going to want to take the arms and just angle all of this out. So right now it literally looks like a massive explosion. It looks like a mess, I'm not going to lie, but we're going to come back here to the legs, split these sections just like that, and then bring these ratchet downs and rotate here at the thigh. So do the exact same here for this section. Now what you're going to want to do is disengage this knee joint, bring this section here forwards, and then this tab is going to peg into that locking mechanism. We can now take this lower part of the foot, rotate this section around, ratchet it just like that, take the toe, bring this section here forwards, flip out these claws, and then this is just going to collapse in upon itself, so it will snap at that point and then at that back point. Do the exact same here for this side. So take this ratchet joint and snap that section in there. Take these pieces, flip those forwards, rotate this section around, take the toe and the foot, bring this section out, and then just collapse all of this in upon itself, just like that. Now we can come here to the body, take this piece, pull it forwards, as it will allow for enough clearance for the nose cone to slide in just a second. And now what you're going to want to do is collapse multiple hinge joints in upon themselves so that these two tabs end up in the back of this. So just bring that down until these do snap into place on both sides. We can now take the nose cone, flip this section here around, and then this is going to snap into place just like that. You'll now want to take this section, pull it forwards. It will basically just allow us enough clearance to begin messing around with all of these joints, but check out all of that sick, intricate mechanical detail. That really does look wicked, especially with the gunmetal grey. But take these pieces and then just pull these down. Do the same here for this side. That will then allow us to take these pieces and flip these sections out. Now you're going to want to take the neck assembly and make sure that this section here is elevated, because we're then going to slide the nose cone back into place, and then this here will slide over the top so that this really nice detail is visible from the front. So definitely bear that in mind. Make sure you've done that step. Once that's done, we can then take this panel and just snap it back there into place. Come here to the arms, which I'm going to be honest with you guys are certainly pretty intricate. So bring this section down. This slot here is going to peg into this tab, so bring this section up and then just snap that in there. We can now begin work on this whole assembly, which is a bit of a mess, I'm not going to lie, but just basically pull all of this down. What's going to happen here is that this section is going to come down, and then we're going to take this and rotate this section here. Just get this piece out of the way, around all the way, just like that. And then we can bring that in upon itself, take this tiny little hook mechanism, which is going to slide into that slot. So let's just slide that all the way in. We can then bring down the shoulder joint, take these hinge joints here, and just collapse them in upon themselves. Take the shoulder pad, click that there into place, rotate here at where I presume the bicep would be, and then take the hand and just hinge all of these fingers down, and basically rinse and repeat the same on the opposite side. Bang! And then once that's done, I've also done a bit of tidying just so it looks symmetrical. We're then going to come here to the back of Starscream. So to kickstart some bits off with this, you're going to want to take this panel, hinge this section here down just like that. We can now shift this upwards, and then that big tab will peg into the back of this. So just snap that in there. We can now take these wings, and they will actually slide into those hollow cavities. They'll also very soft click into place as well, just so you know you've got them sitting right. So do the same here on this side. Come to the base of the jetpack, take these pieces and snap those into place. Take the jets, extend those out on this double hinge joint, and make sure that this panel is flipped forwards, angle all of this back appropriately, and bang, there is Starscream, the Revenge of the Fallen version, fully transformed up into his robot mode. And there's no denying, it does look really cool, but again, I just think it's 3 years too late. Had this come out towards the end of 2020, I would have been way more excited for this than I actually am. But with all that being said, I mean, in terms of a Starscream, this guy looks sick. I mean, look at him, exactly how he appeared in the movie, and the new colour scheme, in my opinion, makes all of the difference. So as we take a look at the head sculpt, I mean, look at those sick looking details. Even that tiny little kind of pink piece that we have on the side of the head, that looks really freaky. Now, you know what, for the longest time, I've always thought that these pieces were basically the body of Starscream, but apparently not. Apparently this midsection is the torso, and these are merely appendages which hold the arms on. So when you look at it like that, I mean, had they got rid of these and maybe had the shoulders attached onto this, would he look like a Dorito? Probably not, but anyway, as we take a look at some of the paintwork we've got going on here for the wings, I think that looks pretty sick. Some very nice mechanical details for these appendages, and the arms, as ever, just look so freakishly weird. I mean, we get some really nice red tubing for the forearm, which looks great. Those super sinister fingers. I remember when Dark of the Moon came out, and I think it was when Starscream was hunting Carly and Sam, and he was kind of mingling his fingers together, and I just remember looking at them and thinking, damn, they are some of the ugliest looking fingers I've ever seen in my life. But as we work our way through the figure, I mean, look at the legs. Just such a nutty design. Whoever designed this character, honestly, I'd love to sit down and talk to them as to what exactly was going through their mind. As, I mean, come on, chicken legs for a Decepticon. You know, I love it because I grew up with the Michael Bay movies, but I can see some of the criticisms, I'm not going to lie. And then we come here to the back, which, again, you know, I think looks so cool. We get the thrusters, which have been decked out in this really nice metallic blue, so that's awesome. I do believe they're blast effect compatible, and, you know, it looks like we've got some kind of bronze bronze detail on the inside, so that too is also a pretty sweet touch. Now, we do have to talk about a few things, in terms of the molding. Unfortunately, this guy is completely unchanged. They didn't change the biceps, which I'm going to get into in just a second, and they didn't get rid of the butt flap, something which pretty much all of the third-party companies have done. So it is a little lazy to basically see Takara take 3 years just to give us a repaint and not make no modifications whatsoever to this mold. I mean, come on, they could have actually updated this to give him some kind of torso articulation. Had this thing got a waist joint or maybe a slight ab crunch, I would have loved it. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys with the ins and outs of the articulation, as it's identical to the original version, but what I will say is that it does allow for some really awesome posing. I mean, you can bring the wings back, you can bring the shoulders forwards and backwards, and the ratchet joints in the shoulders themselves are way more heavy duty than what they were on the original Hasbro release, so that's definitely something worth bearing in mind. Now, as we talk accessories, considering this is basically a repaint, he comes with the same weapons, so we do get this buzzsaw, which is definitely my favourite out of the three. Really nice metallic silver here on that blade. I mean, you can just imagine him slicing through that bus like he was in the Dark of the Moon movie, so that's really awesome. Or maybe cutting up a pizza for Megatron and the Fallen. We also get this Gatling gun, which can be attached onto the forearm. Unlike the version that came with Blackout, this can actually rotate, so I thought that was pretty cool. And then finally we get this missile barge, which I'm going to be honest looks so sad. I mean, come on, Takara. You're telling me you couldn't have put a bit of green, maybe a tiny bit of white on the tips of these? I just think it looks a little lazy in my opinion, kind of unfinished, but we do get a really nice metallic silver bayonet, so I guess that's something. These weapons all attach in the same way as how they did on the original figure. And before I forget, my favourite piece of articulation is that this guy does actually have some jaw articulation. So, I wish to serve you, Lord Megatron. Where is the cube? Now, as we take a look at a comparison in robot mode, I apologise for them being slightly out of frame. They are two massive figures, but we have the new Revenge of the Fallen version on the left and the original 2007 MPM-10 on the right. And in terms of a preference, I mean, as you guys I'm sure will know, I much prefer the way this guy looks. But as I said at the beginning of the video, is this too little too late? Honestly, I think so, because if I cast your minds back to when this was originally released, the biggest issue that I and many collectors had was the lack of bicep rotation, and DNA Design thankfully came out with an upgrade kit which fixed that. But Takara, 3 years on since releasing this, has made no mold changes at all in order to basically rival some of the third-party companies. So I just think they've basically given us the bare minimum. They haven't changed any of the flaws that were apparent on this figure. I mean, come on, even the Studio Series Voyager had some bicep rotation, meaning that you could actually get the fingers kind of mingling in the middle, whereas it's near enough impossible with this stock figure. So again, I'm going to have to go out, probably purchase the DNA Design kit to actually give this guy the articulation which he should have had from the beginning. And because this is 3 years late, I definitely think that is something they should have at the very least done for this figure to make it better than this one in terms of molding. But you guys let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts are on that. And wrapping up on this review for the Revenge of the Fallen masterpiece, Starscream. Overall, it's definitely a nice repaint, it is the more preferred Revenge of the Fallen colour when in comparison to the 2007 release, but as I've said throughout this video, I just think it's too little too late. This guy really should have came out in 2021 at the latest, never mind 2023, 3 years since the original version. We've seen so many different versions of this done by third-party companies, and in my opinion done better, because, had this thing came out and had some mold modifications, had Takara fixed the issue of him not having any bicep rotation, had they got rid of the butt flap, had they maybe given him waist rotation, I just think there would have been more reasons here for us to get this other than a new recolor. And, let's be honest, if you wanted a Revenge of the Fallen MPM-10, chances are you probably already bought one from various different KO companies. You guys let me know down in the comment section below what you think of this recolor. I just see Takara pumping out so many repaints for their G1 Masterpiece line. I mean, we recently saw Skids, and that had, what, like 4 different repaints? They gave us Skids, they gave us Reboots, they gave us Crosscut. I'm sure I'm missing one off the list, so why they couldn't have released this guy sooner really does baffle me. But if you are after an official Masterpiece Starscream and you have at the moment held out on any of those third-party companies, this still is a pretty decent repaint and an exceptional mold. I'd love to get your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you guys think? And until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.